Let's get rocked today with Def Leppard drummer Rick Allen on the Music Universe podcast. See, you didn't think I knew any Def Leppard songs, but you got to understand, my mom is an 80s hair band freak. She loves 80s music. Of course, I know Def Leppard. I've been looking forward to this one all week. Buddy, what a fantastic chat, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. Rick Allen joining us, and I couldn't be more excited because, I grew up in that era and I love that style of music. He was a big inspiration watching, as you'll hear me say in the interview, MTV growing up. I'll tell you a brief story. Something my parents told me because I was just too young to remember, but about 18 months old or so, they showed me how to just hit the power switch on the remote control, and they left MTV programmed on there. So I would crawl out of my crib on like Saturday mornings and sit and watch MTV as my cartoons. Growing up for years, I just didn't have an interest in cartoons. It was all music. So I saw all those guys. And I remember as I grew older and could remember things, just seeing Def Leppard on MTV and how he had programmed to use his feet with electronic pads and stuff.
It's amazing.
As a drummer, that was like so inspirational. And, mixing it a little bit as I got older was very, very cool. And, you don't always think about the origin of where things began, but that was like, like we talk, the start of the combination of the kits, I would think.
I'm looking here at the band. That's why I have my phone open. I swear that I met their bassist. Maybe it was a stand-in bassist. I don't think it was Savage, but I met somebody involved with Def Leppard at the Toto concert 3 years ago that we went to after we had Luke on the show, Steve Lukather. There was an after party and he was there. And I, for the life of me, can't recall him. It was just like a whirlwind of like all these 80s musicians in this room. And I'm like trying to keep track, but I know I met somebody involved in the band. So it was awesome to get to talk to Rick. I have nothing to say. I mean, we did even touch on the loss of his arm, and he's very open about it. And we didn't talk about this too much, but I do know he does a lot of work with wounded veterans. So, and I think, he kind of alluded to the fact that he can kind of relate because, he lost a limb. So we talk a little bit about that, but mostly we talk about his artwork. I'm hoping I'll get to go down because where I am in DC is a prime. It's very cheap, first of all, and it's very short. It's not even 2 hours to hop down to Fort Lauderdale. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to hop down there and see the show. But this interview kind of speaks for itself. It's a really cool conversation. Here's our chat with Rick Allen.
Rick Allen, legendary drummer to Def Leppard, philanthropist and artist. Welcome to the Music Universe podcast. How are you doing?
I'm really good. Nice of you guys to have me.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here.
Taking the time with us, and we got a lot to discuss. I know we want to try to touch every aspect of your career that we can, but you're here because you have some new artwork that you're going to be putting on display later this month. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I did another few Legend series, and the Legend series is basically all musicians, singers, people that inspired me growing up. So the last two that I did Johnny Cash, and I did a really cool Kurt Cobain, and then I've been busy with I do this flag series where I do these like either Union Jacks with giant hearts on them or Stars and Stripes. So it just softens the whole sort of the idea of being a patriot, and just kind of brings it back down to a heart-based thing. But this last couple of months I've just been working like crazy because these will be the first in-person shows I'll be doing since March of last year. So I've been pretty busy, and it's actually been really good for me because at least I've got a really nice focus, something to keep my mind out of the gutter, you know what I mean? And the artwork is really good for doing that. Just in the same way that the music keeps me in the moment, it keeps me in my heart. The artwork really does the same. So it's been a huge blessing to be able to have, you know, something to aim for, like a goal. So these in-person shows are going to be very special.
Love that. Now, you said a key word there that I absolutely ring true with: patriotism. Is patriotism a primary influence for you in terms of your artwork?
Yes. It's more playful, not necessarily downplaying, you know, the importance. I mean, you know, I'm English, you know, and
Yep.
growing up in England, you know, it was a huge part of my upbringing, you know, especially having, you know, the royal family and, you know, and all the trappings of, you know, of being English. So, you know, coming over to America, and especially a lot of the work that I do with our wounded veterans, it really brings that message home, you know, and I understand the significance of, you know, just feeling proud, you know, proud to be, you know, part of something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, I think that's super important, and we look forward to, you know, that artwork. Can you tell everybody where you're going to be appearing at?
Yeah, hopefully you've got the times and you can put those up. So the 20th of this month, I'll be in Las Olas in Fort Lauderdale area. And I think that's somewhere around 7 till 9. And then the next day, the 21st, I'll be at the Hard Rock Hotel in Hollywood, Florida.
Oh, wow.
And I think that's 6 till 10, I believe, but I could be telling you the wrong information. And then on the 22nd, I'll be up in Boca Raton, and there's another Wentworth Gallery up there. So, and I think that's similar time, sort of 7 till 10 or 6 till 10.
Now, not to get too nuts and bolts here, but with COVID and things are coming back, things are not. What's going to be your accessibility to the fans that want to come and see your artwork and meet you? Will you be doing meet and greet, or is it just going to be the artwork?
There'll be a meet and greet of sorts, and then for some of the people, I think we're going to be doing a dinner, which
Sure.
which is always fun. But fortunately, I've had my my vaccine shot, which is an added layer of protection. But I'm still quite wary in terms of I think it's wise to be socially distanced, and I'll be wearing a mask, and it'll be less physical than it has been in the past, because this is my first time really venturing out, and at my age, I don't necessarily fancy my chances if I go in. So I've got to be extra careful,
Of course.
Yeah. So it'll be different, but just as enjoyable for everybody, I'm sure.
Love that.
And we'll let everyone know again, they're at the Wentworth Galleries in Boca Raton, the Town Mall Center. That is actually the 22nd. Obviously, next Thursday, the 20th, at the Las Olas one, and then Seminole Hard Rock Hotel. So the Wentworth Galleries there. How does this, how do your, I know you mentioned Johnny Cash earlier, but how do your artwork relate to drumming and music? I'm a drummer myself, but I've never really gotten into the painting and artwork side like so many have.
Like I say, it's the idea that these are all musicians that I really had so much respect for. In fact, the first one that I did, which was kind of training wheels for this particular technique of painting, was Steve Clark, and who, of course, was with Def Leppard, and it's well documented. We lost him which was super sad. So for me to paint Steve was like paying homage to him, and I sent a photograph of it to my mother, and she keeps in touch with Beryl, Steve's mother, and she sent a picture to Steve's mother, and she shed a tear, and she said, he really caught Steve's likeness, really caught the essence. So that kind of gave me the confidence to continue with this Legends series. And then I moved on to, Jimi Hendrix, who probably, changed the way people play guitar forever. I mean, it's indelible. And then, of course, John Lennon and, Janis Joplin and, just all these incredible people that, that really, really just launched my career and gave me inspiration. I should probably, I've got so many. There's Keith Moon, there's John Bonham, there's all these other musicians that I haven't even attempted yet, but there just isn't enough time in the day, to get through everybody. It seems like the last few years, we just keep, we lose more and more of these iconic, musicians, and it's hard to keep up sometimes.
Well, when you talk about icons, we have to talk about you. I mean, Def Leppard for decades. Now, if you want us to cut this part out, I just want to share my story with you real quick. I have cerebral palsy, very mild, very, very mild. And I look at what you have been able to do as a drummer over the decades, and I think there's a legend there. There's somebody, you talk about Jimi Hendrix reinventing guitar playing. I think you've reinvented what's possible as a drummer. Do you see yourself in the same light as the people you paint?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure any of us really see ourselves that way. I tend not to be so full of myself when it comes to, bragging about what I do. I do acknowledge that it's unique. And actually, one of the things that really helped me, when I really decided to really go for this and take it seriously, was the thing that helped me the most was to stop comparing myself to how I used to play, and to stop comparing myself to others, and embrace how unique it was. And that really helped me get over, a feeling of, wanting more,
Sure.
Obviously I miss, I miss my left arm, but when I look at the big picture and realize that it could have been a hell of a lot worse than it was, I realized that I'm in a very privileged place, and I feel very blessed to be doing what I do. And it's interesting that the most talented musicians on the planet that I know, the likes of Steve Smith, for instance, who's a monstrous drummer, but is so humble when you meet him. You wouldn't think that Steve does what he does, but then when you see him on stage and you see him perform, it's like he's a monster. And I get a lot of love from other musicians and a lot of support, and I'm just really happy being where I am. And I obviously I feel very blessed to be able to play drums the way I do, and it's a gift.
It is. I remember growing up, I didn't watch cartoons that much growing up as a kid. I watched MTV when it was MTV. And I just remember watching, seeing your videos come on. And I started playing drums when I was about 2 years old myself. And just seeing what you were doing with electric kits and combining with actual, acoustic kits. I'm like, I want to do that. So I would start to experiment myself with, you know, combining the two, and now it's so common these days. Do you kind of feel, you know, I know you're definitely humble, but do you kind of feel that you might have inspired current drummers to do that combination of electronic and acoustic kits?
I hope so. And you know, I keep in touch with a lot of other drummers that are physically challenged, and again, I get a lot of recognition for inspiring people. But you know, some people, they, you know, they've taken it to the nth degree, where, you know, it becomes this wonderful two-way street where, you know, I'm inspired by them. You know, everybody's got a unique sort of way of expressing themselves, and and I think we can all learn from each other. You know, it's nice to see how other people do it. You know,
Love that, buddy. I know you're dying to get to see if we can break some news with regard to sort of the breakthrough of COVID and COVID ending and concerts returning. So let's turn now, and buddy, I'll let you ask the question to that big question. If that stadium, if the stadium events are going to happen, buddy, I know you have some news on that and want to ask the question. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, stadium shows are, you know, everything's coming back. It seems we're actually headed to Vegas this summer to see a sold out at full capacity stadium show.
We hope.
in the country realm this July. Any news on the stadium tour with Motley Crue and Poison?
I think primarily it has to be about people's safety.
Right.
And obviously that goes for everybody that's at the venue, you know, the people that work at the venues, our crew, but primarily, you know, it's about people being safe, the fans being safe. And honestly, I think that decision is going to be up to the sports promoters. It's going to be up to, you know, the people that are actually putting on the shows. And I think if they see the science moving them in a way that is more cautious, then that's their decision to make. That decision can't come from us. Obviously, we would love to just go, hey, you know, let's get back to normal. But I think it's important that we all just, you know, just pause for thought and make sure that this is the right time to do it. But until, you know, until then, you know, I'm just waiting for Live Nation and all the promoters really to make that final decision.
Well, sorry, go ahead, buddy.
I was going to say, I think that's important for the fans to know that that is not your decision, that is, you know, the promoter's decisions, like you've said, because I know the bands tend, especially last year, I mean, it was announced with like 3 weeks before it was supposed to start that it wasn't happening, it was being postponed. And I think that's important, that doesn't fall on you guys. You guys are with their fans. You guys want to do it. We want to be there. But ultimately, like you said, it's about safety and it's not your decision.
Right. No, it's true. And it would be devastating to us if we, you know, if we pulled that trigger too soon and people did end up getting sick. You know, it's really not worth it. You know, I know we all want to get back to normal, but I think it has to be in the right time and rolled out in a way that is intelligent, you know?
Yeah. And I think what I was saying, buddy, I'm sorry for stepping on you, was this time of coming back to normal, but not quite being there yet, not quite knowing what those big venues are going to look like, allows us for a space for something like your artwork to showcase. You can go and be with people, and you're vaccinated. We're all vaccinated, hopefully. And you can go and be with people, and it's more intimate. It's not the big, huge stadium tours yet. Talk about what it means to be able to meet the fans in those kinds of intimate settings, whether it's your artwork or your backstage meeting somebody at a concert. What does it mean to have that fan interaction to you?
No, that's cool. It's really important. You know, I'm not going to be doing this forever. And it doesn't take much effort for me to make people happy. And, you know, a lot of people, they'll go like, well, I hope I'm not bothering you. And I'm like, you know what? The fact that you're asking me is a huge compliment. And, I have a lot of time for people. Now, when it comes to, meet and greets backstage with Def Leppard, it tends to be quite brief. And, you chat for a little while and, shake hands and take photographs and, and it's all really cool. But when I meet people surrounding, the artwork and being in the gallery, it becomes a lot more intimate. Just talking about, what they see in the art and, getting to know people. I mean, I've gotten to know some fantastic people just through the artwork and, some lasting relationships. People that I've known for years, and they keep coming back and collecting more and more and more art, which is a huge compliment to me. So I think you'll tend to find that it's a more intimate sort of setting when when I'm around the gallery and around people in that setting. So it's really cool. It's really fun.
Yeah, and we should mention too that your debut collection was back in 2012, over 300 pieces of artwork.
Wow. Yeah, I've been busy. It's I collected a lot of inventory, and I was a little afraid, I think, to show the work to other people. And then my wife convinced me that I needed to get this out to people, and I got a really positive response. So I continue, and I see the artwork as being just as important for my mental health and my well-being as the music. So I continue to do it, and it's very rewarding in many ways.
Yeah,
love that.
And one final question I have is, you guys, for Def Leppard, there's been several complete like era box sets, and the third one was announced for the 2000s, for the early 2000s. Tell, if you can, brief us about that, and what does it feel like to be able to compile different eras of your music for maybe new fans to discover?
Well, a lot of this music was recorded probably before a lot of newer fans were even born. So it's cool for me to go back and visit sort of the two-arm years, back, early 80s, and, listen to what the band sounded like back then. And it's cool to see these snapshots in time and kind of see how we've evolved. So yeah, box sets are really cool. It's great to listen to our history. But I think the one thing that is really relevant about this band is the fact that we continue to come up with new music. And that's something we really pride ourselves in. There's always new ideas on the go. And, I hope in the not too distant future, people get to hear some new music.
Ooh. Oh, that's a tease. That is a tease, and I think we'll leave it right there. And please come back when that new music is out, because Rick, this was a fantastic time talking to you. I cannot wait to see this gallery. I think I have some friends in Fort Lauderdale. I'm just up the road a little bit in DC. It's a 2-hour flight, so I might hop down and come experience it for myself. So Rick, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
That's fantastic, guys. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for being so kind.
We got so wrapped up in the artwork and the music that I forgot to talk about or ask him about his Philanthropy. So I know he does a lot. He just hosted a virtual Sweet Relief concert for COVID musicians, affected by COVID earlier this year with his wife, and had a bunch of guest stars on there as well. And just a super nice, down-to-earth guy, as you could tell in the interview. And look forward to the new Def Leppard music that hopefully is on the horizon. And guys, be patient. The tours, they're coming back. It's all up to the promoters, and hopefully that thing will happen, but who knows? I'm hearing it might be 2022 now.
We'll see, but we're just keeping our fingers crossed for July, and July will be the barometer. So we'll continue to keep you posted. We're getting there. I mean, if you think about it, I'm going to open my phone again. So this week we're airing this. Let's say it's the week of the 14th that we're airing this. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more episodes, only 7 more shows to air before the July concert. So we're getting really close, running up to see if July is going to happen or not. And I think that will be the barometer. And honestly, I am of the opinion that every group, every band needs to watch Las Vegas, watch how Las Vegas, both the residency shows at the casinos and the big concert venues like the new stadium and T-Mobile Arena and Grand Garden Arena, even though that's attached to a casino, is still promoted, I think, by Live Nation or AEG. Watch how they're handling the shows coming back. And I think we'll get some of these people on the road sooner than you might think.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of tours that just announced this week and some last week, and even more that are in the pipeline. They just haven't announced yet. But I mean, they're coming, guys. They're coming. Just keep an eye out. And, you know, it's all about the CDC guidelines and what people feel are safe in those jurisdictions and so forth. So, you know, some things are being rerouted to next year already. Some just are still up in the air at this point. So we'll see them. Hopefully we'll be able to catch one of those Def Leppard Motley Crue shows. And I'm looking forward to just being in a seat, no matter where it is at this point.
Indeed. Well, for the Music Universe podcast, I'm Matt.
And I'm Buddy. Thanks for listening or watching. If you're on social media, take care. And please keep checking out themusicuniverse.com for the latest news. And subscribe to the Music Universe podcast at tmupod.com and on socials. Take care.